You take loans, you don't inform your spouse, you engage in some financial transactions, you don't inform your spouse. Hello there, this is Felix. I welcome you to my channel FJA Diaries, where we talk about matters in relation to relationships. I thank you for your constant support for my channel, and I actually encourage you, if you're for the first time you're actually coming across my video, watching it, I encourage you to like the video and then show your support, subscribe to the channel for more of this. Over this period, the conversation is very interesting. It's an interesting one, and I encourage you to stay on from this moment to the end of the video to get the very important of what I have to share with you. Again, marriage is often seen as the ultimate partnership. It's actually seen as what seals every relationship, and so it is seen mostly as a sacred bond, a very holy bond between two people who actually have chosen to walk together through life side by side with the intention of walking it to the end of their lives, as the altar declaration says, till death do us part. And so even though during a wedding ceremony, wedding vows speak basically of unity between couples, speak of teamwork, wedding vows speak of shared purpose. The reality in most instances for many couples has never been the same. It has never been the same. And so the way one set of couples will end up seeing marriage from its beginning to its end will not be as another set, to do with their perspective. And so in recent times, checks have it that some marriages look very healthy, very appealing, so attractive on the outside, but within the circles of individuals who find themselves in that union, the feeling is quite different. And so for some of them, they feel very lonely, very lonely. Some also feel so much, should I say, extremely disconnected. There are those who also feel transactional, as though it's a contract between the two of them, such that they are only looking at a time when one will decide that, for me, to this point, I think I am tired, and that I can actually continue in this union with you any longer. And so the call for a divorce. Well, the point is this: you may still love each other. Undeniably, you may live under the same roof on a daily basis. You may share responsibilities together very fairly. But the question here is, in all of these, are both of you truly partners? Are you actually real partners in your union together, in that marriage journey? Are you partners? And so within this period, in this video, we are actually discussing, and here there are only three major signs that you may be married. You may be married, seeing yourself as couples in that union, but not actually functioning as real partners. So signs that actually tell that even though you are married, you are both not real partners. And so quickly, let's dive into what the signs are. Sign number one, the first sign, that even though you're married, you are not actually moving together as partners. Now, the first sign is either of you. So then you make big life decisions that could actually affect the family you have started together very greatly without your partner's input. And so husband making a decision or taking a decision without the involvement of his wife. Wife making a decision or taking a certain initiative without the involvement of her husband. Now you see, know this. One of the clearest signs, one of the clearest signs of partnership is collaboration. That is very basic. Collaboration, especially when it comes to having to make a very huge decision. I mean, making very big decisions. Collaboration is one clear sign of true partnership in every venture. But here we are talking about collaboration in marriage. And so if you find yourself making career changes without truly discussing it, if you end up finding yourself spending large amounts of money, huge sums of money, all by yourself without consulting your spouse, you take loans, you don't inform your spouse, you engage in some financial transactions, you don't inform your spouse. If you find yourself agreeing to certain obligations without considering each other's input, then it stands actually to mean that your marriage may be missing that mutual respect, that joint decision making experience that every true partnership requires. And that can really be damaging to your journey together as couples. And so the honest truth is, in a partnership, you don't have to notify your spouse. No, you don't have to notify your spouse. You should actually involve your spouse. Notifying your spouse, you take the decision, you take the move, you get the thing done, and then you come telling your spouse, this is exactly what I've done. Right from the onset, at the point where the decision is actually supposed to be made, your spouse should be in the know. Your spouse should actually have to make an input, at least for both of you to agree on whether or not to go ahead with the implementation of the decision. And so you should value your spouse's perspective, what he or she thinks. You should actually weigh choices together between the two of you. What does each person think? This has to be done, even when you both variably or to a far extent don't fully agree with each other. That has to still be done. And so if major life decisions are consistently made by only one partner, it may feel like one of you is actually dragging the other person through life and not really walking life together as couples. And clearly, that is not fair for what is called a true marriage. That is not fair. And so, to bring about a change, to bring about true reformation, to bring about real transformation, it is apparently advisable to rebuild the habit of checking in, engaging with each other, involving each other, informing, getting each other's input, prior to having to make a particular decision. It is very much ideal to do that. In all honesty, real partners decide together, even when you both disagree. And that is one particular nature that makes marriage and the partnership it comes with very beautiful and efficient. So the first sign. Now the second sign that even though you are married, you are not actually partners in that union is emotional labor. How you run your emotions, how you engage your emotions is usually one-sided. Emotional engagement is always one-sided. Now, in talking about emotional labor, it's not actually just about chores, daily responsibilities, or running errands, having to carry out certain missionary activities, not missionary to do with, having a ministry to run, but then going on a mission in the name of your union together. What has to do with performing certain duties? No. And so here it's basically about the invisible work, what is not actually seen, that keeps a relationship, that keeps an entire household steadily running, steadily moving on, steadily progressing. And so what is not actually so visible? Now, if one of you at some point happens to be the only one doing all the mental liftings, shouldering all the emotional activities, doing all the emotional liftings, and doing all the relational lifting, if one of you happens to be carrying out all these when the other person does not feel fully involved, looking on unconcerned, it is clear that the marriage is unbalanced, the partnership is unbalanced, the connection between the two of you is lacking. And so, in every healthy relationship, both couples, the two of you, carry the emotional weight of the relationship from time to time together. And so, they actually check in on each other. You don't wait for your wife to call you. So, for a whole day till evening, you've not heard from your wife. And you don't seem to even feel bothered to call to check up on her. For a whole day till evening, you've not heard from your husband. And it doesn't actually seem to bother you. You are still waiting late into the night to expect that he would call you. The ideal thing is, for as long as you should share in the emotional language, lifting together, either of you, for as long as it matters to both of you, can call to check up on each other. And so they split the plan. If I don't call, the other person should do the calling. Perhaps I might be busy or engaged with a certain activity that will get me delaying my attempt of having to call to check on my partner. So when he or she actually gets to have free time, nothing should stop him or her from calling to check up on me. That's ideal. And so constantly they both invest in what would keep them remaining closer and closer to each other. None of them stays glued on the fence. Everyone remains, not actually seems to be, but then remains involved. And so if you are constantly exhausted while your spouse that seems oblivious or disengaged, it may feel like you are managing a household and not really sharing a life together. And that can hurt. It can, if you have actually had that experience before, it hurts. It makes you wonder if you really have somebody in your life you call your wife or you call your husband. We all need this emotional connection. It is not actually supposed to be one person's burden in the union. It has to be a shared responsibility. Now, to resolve this, perhaps in marriage you're experiencing the emotional labor being one-sided, you having to, or having been doing it all alone all through and through, your partner not actually feeling concerned about it. To get this resolved, collaboratively, open and honest conversation. Arrange a moment when both of you will talk about how each of you contributes, not mainly financially or physically, but emotionally. How both of you add something to that part of your connection. Talk about it. Talk passionately on these things. They matter a great deal for the success of every relationship. When you leave that unattended to, your marriage likely will suffer, and the end result will not actually be a good one. And so bear in mind that real partnership thrives when both individuals, husband and wife, feel seen, when both partners feel supported, when both partners actually feel responsible for the emotional surrounding of the relationship. To this point, you see yourselves growing very steadily and happily together. So be each other's emotional bearer. Hold one end, your partner should hold the other end. You journey on together, and that really makes things work perfectly to for you. Now, sign number three, that though you may be married, you are not actually real partners. Sign number three is, so you are not each other's safe place or less anymore. Everybody seems to be his or her personal caretaker. The other person does not matter to them. And so you feel that when I am in need or in trouble or need a form of cushioning, I can't go to my partner because that is missing. Now, when it gets to this point in a relationship where you both don't seem, you both don't actually appear to care much about each other's welfare, about each other's well-being, it usually hurts and can be deeply painful, very, very painful. It makes you break down, it makes you get mentally needed. And so I'm asking you this: when life gets really hard, when life gets to, for you, a stage where you seem to have no one to tend to, no one to look at to, when you appear to be extremely overwhelmed, you look so scared, you look so unsure about something that is troubling your mind, who do you turn to? Practically, who do you turn to? That's rhetorical. I mean, you can share that in the comment section. I mean, an experience where you had to go through a situation like this and wondered whom you should share that experience with. Married, I mean, you can share that in the comment section. Now, if the answer isn't your spouse, I turn to my spouse because he or she is always there for me. Or if you actually feel more comfortable being vulnerable with a friend, with your parents, going to your parents, traveling away from your partner, to live with your parents because you think there you feel secured, there you feel okay, quite better than having to remain in that situation living in the circle of your partner. If it is that way, or even deciding to stay silent, being quiet over that issue, then you are not operating, both of you, as true partners. It actually supposes then that there's a huge question mark that needs answering. Now, in a real partnership, emotional safety is one major foundation. Its absence ruins the relationship. And so with that you can be honest. You can be honest about everything to your spouse without fear of being judged or ignored or dismissed. Without foundation, you can actually bring your messy feelings to bear. I mean your fears, the doubts you have within you, and be met. Be met with compassion, not criticism. With that foundation, you unreservedly, without thinking to withdraw, you unreservedly trust that when life throws its punches at you, you won't have to face them alone because your partner would be there, right by your side, standing to give you that warm embrace, to make you feel better. You see, the fact is, if you feel like you are walking through life emotionally isolated, even in a marriage, then something very huge, something extremely important is missing, and that needs to be found, or that needs to be restored. And so, to restore that missing emotional connection, I suggest this to you: practice active listening. Active listening with no fixing or defending. Don't try to be the one to correct the wrongs of your partner immediately. Just listen. Listen. I mean, sometimes being a partner means simply holding space and not having to even make any comment immediately. Just be there, very accommodating. So when couples learn to offer safety, their emotional intimacy with time deepens. It grows stronger and stronger. And with that, real partnership gets revived, maybe born again. And so being legally married doesn't automatically make two people partners. It doesn't just happen. It is not automatic. True partnership is emotional. True partnership is extremely psychological. True partnership is very practical. Everything therein is worked out. It doesn't just happen. And so true partnership is spiritual. True partnership is not mainly about proximity. It's not mainly about what you expect to happen. But then it is about connection. Real connection. It is not about obligation. It's actually about investment. Doing what will make it work. What do I put in? What should my partner put in? How do we want to see a marriage in the years after now? And so that target requires you working together to make it happen. Until then, you should forget it. And so if you recognize yourself in these signs that show both of you are extremely far apart, don't panic. You don't have to feel scattered or, don't feel so extremely troubled. This isn't the end. That really is the truth. It's actually not the end. It's an invitation. It is actually a calling to you, drawing your attention to something you might not be doing together. And so you must have to give so much attention to that particular thing and begin work towards it. And so it's actually an invitation to rebuild the two of you. It's an invitation to actually speak, have that conversation. The two of you sitting face to face with each other, looking into each other's eyes and having that hard conversation. It's an invitation to actually listen to each other in that moment of conversation. An invitation to re-choose each other over and over again. Now just realize that partnership isn't something you declare once and for all, once and that's it. No, it's something you constantly create every day. You build partnership every single day. It requires so much work. It requires so much connection. It requires so much effort. You don't just leave it to build itself. It's not actually automatic. And so be emotionally connected. Do what will make you stay longer together as husband and wife in a happy manner. And your love life will make the two of you stronger. I thank you so much for having watched to this end. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. I appreciate your time. Stay safe.